Hello everyone, we are discussing about the subject software engineering. In this we are going to learn about the unified process model. Here the objectives of the class are to understand various phases of unified process model and to learn the need of unified process model. Here, before learning what are the various phases of the unified process model, let us see what are the approaches it will use with some examples. So here it is using the use case driven approach, it is architectural driven approach and architectural centric approach, and it is using iterative and incremental approaches. Here, coming to the general example, I am considering an online shopping. Generally we are doing the business offline, and due to the epidemic issues in the outside world, we want to create we want to conduct an online shopping store, and for this I want the developers to develop a website depending upon my requirements. So here I am having two options, whether I want to build the software, the whole working software in a month, or would I like to develop the website in stages so that I can take a look into the working software and I can request any modifications right away. So generally we always always want to put ourselves in a safe manner, so we always go to the second option. So it would be reasonable so that you will have well developed bits of your software. So you will see step by step incremental development of your website. So it would ensure that the developers were proceeding in the right direction, and this is the same approach that you would take if you were building a software project on the basis of the unified process model. Incrementally, we are adding one functionality after other functionality, giving the customers a chance to see the working product of the software in the initial stages. So this is more efficient. So coming to the definition of the unified process model, this is iterative, incremental, architecture centric and use case driven approach to the software development. So first of all, coming to the use case driven approach, this is the interaction between the two or more entities, and the list of requirements specified by a customer are converted into the functional requirements by the business analyst and referred as the use cases. Here the use case describe the operation of your software as interactions between the customer and the system, which will result in the specific output. For example, in the online store, there will be use cases such as adding to the cart or payment, delivery, and searching the products. All will come as the use cases. So each use case is representing a significant functionality and it could be considered for an iteration. Coming to the architectural centric approach, this will give a blueprint of what actually the system should do, and it will also give a blueprint of the organization of the software system, and it includes different technologies that should be used here, the programming languages, the operating systems, development and release environment, server capabilities, and other areas for developing the software that are included in the architectural centric approaches. Coming to the iterative and incremental approach, it means treating each iteration it is treating as a mini project. So therefore, if you would develop a software as a number of small mini projects working in cycles, so each functionality is treated as one mini project, means we are adding one feature after another feature. So you would develop small working versions of the software at the end of each cycle. Each iteration would add some functionality to the software according to the requirements specified by the customer. For example, if you consider WhatsApp in the initial stages, you are just having you can send the messages and you can receive the messages. In the next stage, you are having the voice calls. In the next version, you are having video calls. In the next stage, you are having status updations. You can update the status, images you can do. Then after that, you can add some videos to your status. Nowadays, because of the data bandwidth requirements, they have reduced the size of the video that could be updated on the status. Means in every version you are having some new features. That is incremental approach, iterative and incremental approach. Coming to the phases of the unified process model, here inception, elaboration, construction, transition and production are the various phases of unified process model. And if you observe the software process activities like communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment, which you have already learned, all those combinedly will comprise in the unified process model. Communication, planning are considered in the inception phase, planning and modeling were taken in the elaboration phase, construction itself will come in the construction phase, construction and deployment will come to the transition phase, and the production phase is there after the deployment phase. Coming to the inception phase, this is similar to gathering all the requirements from the customer, like the waterfall model, and we will collect all the requirements from the customer and analyze the project's feasibility, and you will plan for the schedules and the cost estimations and how can you develop it. Those are the things that will come under the inception phase. So the life cycle objective milestones at the end of the inception phase, means you will come with the milestones, what should be done in the project, that will come in the inception phase. Coming to the elaboration phase, all the requirements that are gathered here are expanded upon the activities undertaken in the inception phase. The major goals of this phase includes creating fully functionally requirements and creating a detailed architecture for fulfillment of the requirements. And here you would also prepare a business case document for the customer, means you are having the functional requirements, the use cases. So here the output of the elaboration phase are the developing of the use cases, the class diagrams or the conceptual diagrams and the architectural diagrams. And here you will also have the phase deliverable, you will have the plan, it will give you a plan for the construction phase. Then coming to the construction, the construction is the actual one where we are developing the software. So you would be writing the actual code and implementing the features for each iteration. You would be rolling out the first iteration of the software depending upon the key use cases that make up the core functionalities of the software system. So coming to the transition phase, after developing the software, the software product is being delivered to the client, and after delivering the product to the client, you will take the user feedback reports to know what are the defects and what are the necessary changes that they want, and those are taken in the transition phase. Coming to the production phase, all the defect reports, requests for changes are submitted. The one which you are collecting in the transition phase are evaluated. So here the deployment activity will evaluate the changes and what are the reports that were what are the defects that were reported, and the changes that are required are evaluated here. So during this phase, the ongoing use of the software is monitored. Support for the operating environment, the infrastructure is provided, and all the changes and the defects are evaluated. So if you want to accommodate all the changes, again you goes back to the inception phase, then again elaboration. So in step by step, in a incremental approach, you keep on adding the new features until the working product of the software comes to you. So this is the unified process model, and the things that you have to remember are the framework is object oriented software engineering using the unified modeling language, And here this model is iterative, incremental, this is use case driven and architectural driven, which should be adopted to meet the specific project needs, that should be accommodated in the incremental steps. Thank you.